welcome to the Filmmakers of Easton. I'm Lawrence Swartz, your hostess, and I'd like to welcome you to our show that comes to you every week from Comcast Studios, Channel 9 here in Easton. The Filmmakers of Easton is sponsored by the Easton Film Festival, and we have several programs in town that you may or may not be aware of, but most prominently, obviously, is this show, where you can catch up on your local friends and neighbors and their filmmaking exploits, as well as check out our film series, which happens at Andrew's Bakery every other Friday evening at 7 o'clock. This year we are highlighting American directors, and Ed Hands from Olive Ames High School hosts these evenings. It's free of charge, so please come and watch directors John Huston, Alfred Hitchcock, Billy Wilder. You can check the schedule on our website or in the Easton Journal. So our website is www.eastonfilmfestival.com. So we encourage you to join us for that, as well as we have some Film Jam quick weekend competitions that you can find out more information about on the website and in the Easton Journal as well. But back to our show at hand, I'd like to welcome Linda Meyers-Brown, who has been a friend of ours and a competitor and a contributor for as long as the Film Festival has been in existence. So it's good to see you again, Linda. Thank you for coming back.
Great to be here.
Well, it's good to have you. It's a good way to start off our new year. If you could share, there's probably a couple of people at home who have not yet seen our show and they're watching for the first time. So if you could share with them a little bit about yourself, your interests, and how you have come to be with so much interest in filmmaking.
My interest in filmmaking came from my involvement with Lewis Brown, who's a genius artist, creator, that I met at Boston City Hall at his one-man show. He's the creator of three-dimensional sculptured paintings on wood with stones set in the medium, and it's a revolutionary technique that can change the whole world of interior design and exterior design, and it's also the technique and art form that bridges fine art and manufacturing. It all can be reproduced not only two-dimensionally from photos, but three-dimensionally by pouring rubber to make a mold and then casting in various materials. Okay. And when I met Lewis, I couldn't help but feel and touch the art that was so well lit at his one-man show. It was just speaking to me, telling me that I had to feel and touch it. And as I was doing so, Lewis came over and started talking to me. He was actually there at the exhibit because Bruce Rossley, the commissioner of the Office of Cultural Affairs there at Boston City Hall, had asked him to come in because they had such an overwhelming response to his art, and they couldn't handle asking all the questions. Okay. And he began telling me that he had a 26-page marketing report describing his art, and before I knew it, I was involved in, as his agent, writing and doing film production and sales and marketing.
Okay. As a young girl, or as a child even, what sort of artistic pursuits were you involved in at that point?
As a child, going back to 4 years old, I was taking dance lessons and having recitals that John Hancock called Dorothy Quincy Suite. And I guess I was pretty aggressive in those days. People always tell me the story of how we were little bunnies with cottontails and a pink satin costume, and one little girl that was in the group couldn't do her somersault, and I pushed her over, and I guess that created a lot of a lot of laughter from the audience.
I
Everybody
can imagine.
Enjoyed that.
So, but what about of the hand arts? Were you interested in drawing or sculpture, composition, any of that kind of stuff prior to age 20?
No, I didn't get into that until I decided to go to college, actually 12 years after I had been graduated from high school, because I got married right out of high school instead of doing those things that are so important to finding your own identity and talents and gifts and all that. And mine came through a lot through prayer. I was baptized twice in the Spirit down at Father McDermott's prayer group, and I prayed for, you know, a lot of my gifts to come through. They were coming through, but they did really come through my work with Lewis.
Okay. So Lewis was an inspiration. You have since now have a life with Lewis, of course. But have you done any combined artistic works, or are you both separate artists in your own separate rights?
We really work as a team of, you know, my writing about his art and doing the film production and the acting as the agent more than you know, doing any sculptures.
Alrighty. And so now you have brought with you this evening another of your films, and you have been very prominent in our past film festivals with films about Lewis, other of your interests. And so tell me a little bit about what you've brought us tonight.
This is my life story documentary. It's called The True Life Story of Linda Meyers-Brown with Lewis Brown, because my life and my talents came through my work with Lewis. And it kind of shows how I got into camera work and writing and filming, and I was inspired to do it when I was nominated for International Writer of the Year and as one of top 2,000 intellectuals by the International Biographical Center in Cambridge, England, and the American Biographical Institute has awarded me this year an International Peace Award, so that's going to be the next information coming out, and the UN's going to be notified about that.
Wow, well, congratulations. That I didn't know, and that's very impressive as well. So, well, why don't we go ahead and show some of your film and let it speak for itself, and we can come back and talk a little bit about it when our clip is complete. How does that sound?
Great.
Okay, great. If we can roll my life story, the true life story of Linda Meyers-Brown.
And that's the sculptured tails of the ribbon-tailed bird. We did an exhibit at Dr. Solomon Carter Fuller Mental Health in Boston in November and October of 1997. We did a spin-off exhibit at Conley's in the Northeastern University area. It was filmed by Taliba Kennedy of BNN TV. From there, we brought the artwork out to Easton to set it up in a home gallery. We did an exhibit at the Bicentennial at Borderland Park in Easton in 1998. Joanne Sprague and Bonnie Frank visited our exhibit at Borderland Park. That's the mansion at Borderland. They tried real hard to get an old-fashioned hot air balloon off the ground that day and finally did. These are some balloons that went up at the Irish Festival at Stonehill. Billy Bulger tried to get us some publicity for the gallery, and we met Ray Flynn at the Irish Festival at Stonehill College also. Lewis made a sign for the grand opening of the gallery. That's our friend Joe Cook, the Nut Man, and recording artist. On August 10th, 1998, Lewis Brown received a great gift. Ed Cheever, who is blind, painted the first nature stone art, new sculpture art concept ceramic fan. He chose to paint the fan in an elaborate display of color. His pattern reflects Lewis Brown and Charlene Brown's American Indian heritage.
He chose to do it in a very difficult and challenging way. He chose to do the large outer band in a number of colors, which is the ultimate challenge.
The New Life art form introduces a new visual element in 3D as a sculptured surface texture and a touching and feeling sensory element in this new third dimension. For this reason, this art can be worked with by the blind. We're here today at the Nature Stone Art Gallery.
Sheesh! Can I smack him? Ruined my artistic work.
No, it's just on the it's a white spot over here from the
Yeah.
A big white spot.
Yeah. Sheesh. Beat him up. You're ruining my artwork on me. I told you, I want my white spots. That's there for a reason. It's white. Yeah, that one's white for a reason.
Turn it over so we can see the back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There it is, signed by both Ed and Lewis. Number 1, fan painted by the blind, August 10th, 1998.
Hi, I'm here again, Arlene and my brother Louis. We're here to let you know that we are the creators of Nature Stone Art, and we have here in our hand a reproduction of a fan that was created from Nature Stone Art, which was painted by a blind person. And we just showing you that blind people can also have fun in doing Nature Stone Art, painting and creating beautiful colors. And these are some of the colors that Ed Chivas. This is some of his work that he did, and we did this from Nature Stone Art out of ceramic. It's ceramic, but it was the original is Nature Stone Art. And as you can see, blind people can do this type of art. And what we're trying to do is get more blind people involved in getting this Nature Stone Art out to the public, letting them know that all types of people can have fun creating and painting from Nature Stone Art. And these are two that we're showing you that was done by a blind person. And it's multi-colors, as you can see. This is very beautiful.
And we also thank Ed Chivas for doing a test like this to see if this could be paint for the blind people.
Okay. See?
We received recognition for our films Blind Man Paints and Siri Ann and George Paint and do tactile examinations of Lewis's artwork, Parts 1 and Part 2, at the first Easton Film Festival at Stonehill College in 2002, founded by Bill Ames and the Easton Film Committee. Teachers and staff from Southeastern Regional Vocational School designed a tremendous layer cake with lights and edible film. Louis and I enjoyed it a lot. We did some sightseeing in New York. We went to Morgan Stanley and the Stock Exchange, down to NBC, where we met Peter Max, who designed the Bulls. We gave Al Roker a postcard. Jack Hamill was a good friend that helped us a lot with events, and that's the Carriage House restaurant where we did some dancing and partying. We brought some three-dimensional art to Wayne, a blind man of the National Federation of the Blind in Worcester. The entertainment is great at Faneuil Hall and City Hall. We enjoy annual luncheons of the Mass Business Development and Department of Commerce at Anthony's Pier 4 in Boston. We brought Lewis's artwork there and exhibited it. Ted Kennedy received an award for all his years of service. Many people from Washington, D.C. were there. Sarah Ann and George posed for a photograph with the two fans that they each painted in front of Lewis's Birds of Paradise 2 mural.
Yeah, hold on, George, because you're going to be in it in a second unless she's already got you in there.
Yeah.
This way. So that the fan can...
We're shaking like this. If you're going to get him down forward, you got to turn that wide wheel.
Yeah, lean into it a little bit.
See, I don't want to put the shadow on the picture.
Yeah. You should only have to touch the zoom button to back it up.
Well, Linda, that was a wonderful snapshot of, I guess, a much larger work. And you were just telling me that this is towards the latter part of the film. Could you briefly share with me what are some of the components in the beginning of the film?
Well, I started the film by talking about the awards that I had received,
Okay.
and then I had some great professional photographs that I perfected my technique in doing the camera work on,
Okay.
zooming in and doing and panning and
Okay.
and all that. And I worked really hard to make the photos look good in the film.
Okay. I know some of these photos, whether they were digital or from past, I mean, years ago, and so you had the challenge of compiling current footage, titles, photos from the past, all to make a very nice story about how the blind art project came to be. What was the hardest part of doing that?
The photos were really the hardest part. I left that until the end. I did a little bit of it, and then I left some space just based on my instinct about it, and it turned out to be pretty correct. And then I did the rest of the film, which was a composite of a number of films, and that went together really quickly for me. I had some unused footage of the mayor in Brockton that had been at Lewis's exhibit at the Brockton Public Library over there at the Driscoll Gallery.
Oh, sure.
That was in 2000. He was over there for a whole month. He had the mural over there and all that. So I wanted to show some of that footage because it seemed that it was only right to do since it had been filmed. It should be shown. And also we've created more than 13 documentaries now, and I just was inspired to put it all together into one film.
Sure. Well, I get the sense of just even watching this clip, when you're out in the community, you're at City Hall Plaza, that you must have incredible stories of people coming up to you, lives who you touch, and that you never see them again. And that's got to be a great feeling that your art, opens up stuff for people. but then, you know, they just kind of float out in and out of your life. And that's one of the joys, I guess, of being more of a public artist.
Right, that's, I've been amazed by people's reaction to Lewis's artwork. When we were at Borderland Park at the bicentennial celebration, one woman actually almost fainted. She was so excited by the art when she was, she almost seemed to be having palpitations. And when people see it, they always say that they never knew that it was anything like it actually is three-dimensionally, and they always come in with wow and what power. And it's sad that it isn't in a public place where everybody can come in and to see it, and hopefully it will be soon or someday.
Sure. Well, we have some new public spaces, our library expansion, our high school expansion. There could be some possibilities for a need of some color and things. Upcoming projects that you and Lewis are working on, what's on the horizon now for 2005?
Well, right now we're excited that we're going to be going to the inauguration this month in January.
Oh, down in Washington?
Yeah. We're going to be at one of the clubs partying. So
Very
we're
nice.
excited about that, and hopefully some things will happen, some good things will happen about the artwork.
Well, yes. Oh, take your camera. That would be a really nice kind of storyline, I suppose.
Yeah.
But very exciting.
Right now we're in reruns on our Issues of Easton show, and we just filmed down at Providence, Rhode Island at the Russian submarine down there.
Sure.
And so I'm going to be editing that up now, and that'll be going on the air. And I have some suggestions from my co-producer about some shows, possibly with Robert Coe, that has MS, and he's an artist and a poster child. So I hope to make that connection and do some filming with him.
You have a few projects on your plate, it sounds like.
Yeah.
What do you have coming up that we're going to see in our film festival competition? Can you give me a clue yet, or is that for a surprise?
I guess that's going to have to be a surprise, because it's a surprise to me right now.
You have a little time, but I know, folks at home at least sometimes start to think about it, a year in advance, but don't actually begin the mechanics of putting it together. And you asked me earlier how my editing is coming, which means that I need to start doing that. But I think that's always the hardest part in making the decisions. And the films you brought with us, even the film today, have wonderful examples of the variety of editing techniques that you can use. For the folks at home who are just thinking about starting editing and composition, can you give us some suggestions of, when you're looking at this massive film footage and you have editing software, how do you start the process of editing?
I just keep reviewing it visually for what I like visually, and I never know how it's going to go together. Actually, it's amazing to me how things always kind of happen a little bit differently as far as the editing goes. There's so many ways that you can do it.
Okay. Is it easier to go through it chronologically and then cut and paste, or do you pick certain pieces out and then figure out which order they're going to go in?
Yeah, chronologically, I think definitely ties in. I think that's how I did the True Life story, going back to the dance lessons and the youth, and then it really was pretty much in chronological order. Okay.
I know in dealing with titles, and you had some great examples of, you had some titles that are over footage, you had some titles that have are in front of just black or colors. How do you start to make up those decisions? I mean, there's too many options available. How do you make the decision with your titles?
Well, I've used kind of a gold in the lettering. I've liked that appearance from the beginning.
Okay.
And
it's almost a signature of yours.
Yeah, I kind of like that a lot. And I was a computer operator, so that it's pretty easy for me to do the graphics.
Okay. Okay, I guess that makes sense. And then a lot of your work, well, you have some work that you use music with, and in this particular work you particularly used, you know, the live action and the sound and stuff. Do you have problems with outdoor sound versus indoor sound and that kind of stuff? Because you seem to do it very well, and sometimes we have film footage here that they have problems with the sound. Is there tricks to sound?
Yeah, we've learned a lot about the sound, and like with our Issues of Easton show, we did some shows with Ed Shiva, who's blind and disabled, and he talked about their issues with traffic and safety and so forth, and we decided to sit close to Route 138, where our trailer is. And it was sounding like a speedway, really.
Sure.
So we had to come in and get some lapel mics because the camera mic didn't work. We had to reshoot and use the lapel mics, and that's kind of a secret. If you have noise around you, you need you know, your mic's close to you. You can't use the camera mics. And also when we were filming the Russian submarine, there was a lot of wind that was drowning us out and all that. So.
Got it. When you initially started film composition with Louis, was there any resistance? Was he okay with that? Because a lot of artists are, you know, don't like to be in the forefront. They like their art to speak for them. And how was Louis in terms of being in public view and talking about his footage and talking about his art and transferring it to film footage?
It took me a while to really clue in on that myself, but Louis should best be understood as a performing artist himself, because he's a gifted musician, also plays drums, keyboard, and guitar, and he's been composing music. He hopes to put out a CD this year, so he's best, you know, he's almost like a Cecil B. DeMille himself. He has such tremendous creativity in business also. Sure. And he just takes over the interviews and performs even in his interviews, and gets such a great reaction from students or whoever he might be speaking with.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, you know, he never has a problem here, but he's an experienced, well-known artist, and sometimes at the beginning it's harder to get them to talk about their art. They like the art to speak for themselves.
Yeah, because he worked down at Revere at the amusement park with like the strongman bell and all that type of stuff.
Sure.
You know, so he's you know, like an old Connie person too. You know.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you very much for coming in and sharing yet another piece of work. One of your works of art with us and with the folks at home. You know, we love having you and looking forward to having you come back as soon as you have something else in a composition. And I want to thank the folks at home for joining us. I hope we've had a chance to come into your homes and share something new, share with you Linda Meyers-Brown, who's one of your friends and neighbors. If you haven't seen her around town, you will. But on behalf of the Easton Film Festival, I want to thank you for joining us. We come to you every week at 7 o'clock on Channel 9, so please look for us here. Our activities are on the website, www.eastonfilmfestival.com. I want to thank the Northeastern Savings Bank, who sponsors our organization, as well as ClearPoint Communications, who does our website. So on behalf of the sound crew, the film crew, my producer Bill Ames, I'm Lauren Swartz. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Good night.